guys, I just wanted to jump on really quick and share a tip of how I handle making bulk sentiments available for a big batch of cards that I may need to make. So, what I do is I get the stamps out that I would like to use and a piece of cardstock, however many pieces of cardstock you may need. I usually typically only use one or two. Then I just get my stamps out that I'm going to be using, and I'm not trying to be absolutely perfect. The only thing I would like to point out when you begin stamping is give yourself a little bit of room in between the stamps. So that way you have room to trim them down when you're getting ready to put them on the cards. So I just go right down the line like you see here. I just do mass, and again, I keep even the ones that don't stamp perfectly because sometimes you have a style of card where you can use that. It just all depends on what you want to make. So again, I'm just going to go right down the line. And because I am doing so many, it doesn't bother me if a few kind of miss stamp. So if you have more than one stamp, oops, you can mix it up. Let me change that out. And I like to flip the paper. I don't know why. It's just a personal thing. You certainly don't have to. But it is good to keep your fingers out of the ink. And then I just come back down. Again, I like to leave room in between each stamped image for the sentiment. That way, I have a good amount of space when I go in to trim them down. And for me, it's easier to pick up because I don't have excessively long nails, and sometimes it can be difficult to pick up the paper stamp or the paper element that I'm working with. So larger is a little bit better, so I reduce the risk of crinkling where the actual sentiment is. Again, this is a personal thing. You know, if this is something that you try, you'll get a feel for how it works for you and how to work it for you. So when I've got the amount of stamps that I want, then I just go ahead and clean up my ink, get that out of the way. I move my stamps, and then I can come in with my paper trimmer. And then also, when you are dealing with the piece of paper, having the wider spaces makes it easier to start trimming it down into individual pieces. And again, I'm not worried about it being perfect because I can always come back in and reshape it and smooth out any wonky edges on my little cut apart sentiments. So I found this works so much easier when I'm dealing with bulk card making. It doesn't take that long. And again, I'm just doing a quick demonstration just to get the basic feel for how I've learned to work with it. And again, just leaving room in between the rows or the columns to have room to separate them and not being bothered if they're not cut down perfectly. So I'm not going to cut all of these down. I don't want to make this video too long, but just to give you an idea of how quickly you can move when you do a bunch of bulk. And because you are doing the big sheets, again, you know, if you miss stamp one or two, not a big deal, but hang on to them. Unless they're really bad, then you have a way to use them for a card where that kind of a grungy look would be appropriate. So that is the sample, and then let me move this out of the way. And this is the set I had stamped previously, off camera. And then again, when I'm ready to use one, because it's much easier for me to pick up the larger piece, again, because I don't really have very long nails, then I can just come in, trim it down, and now your sentiment is good to go. And if you want to add a little extra, this is something that I really like to do personally. It adds a little bit of definition to the little sentiment embellishment that I've created. I just come in, ink up the edges. Just want to do one really quick with you. And then, let me slide that out of the way. When you come in for the card, you have that little bit of definition that you can see here now. It gives a faux layering look, as well as helping the sentiment stand out on the card. So again, this was just a super quick tip in case you were struggling with how to make bulk sentiment strips for a really large batch of cards that you need to make. Plus, it's also good to do this every once in a while to keep a good base of stamps on hand, because these are fairly generic. This is more for kids. It's also something that could be used around Halloween time, but this is just a generic happy birthday. I can use it with whatever birthday group that I'm working with, men, women, children, all of it. So hope this little tip helped. Again, I didn't want to make it too quick. If you have any questions, you can always email me or leave a comment below. I'm at bluejanecreations69@gmail.com if you have any further questions. Or like I said, feel free to leave that in the comment below. And as always, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hope it helped. Take care, and I will definitely be seeing you in the next video.